amazing night for the chosen few. He's got the voice, the spirit, and the fire. Bigfoot, Michigan, Rob, taking us higher. He built a palace of cryptids in this lonely space. True cryptid encounters, volumes 1 and 2. Coming from the darkness, tell your own tale. He's starting the job out past the setting sun. He's Bigfoot, Michigan, Rob, until the work is done. It's a Bigfoot pirate rock and roll show. On the airwaves, watch the legend grow. Come join the beyond and hear the wild scream. Yeah! Bigfoot, Michigan, Rob. Time to open up your mind. Get ready to rock and roll. Yeah.
There you have it, everybody. There you have it. Hang on one brief moment. I got to do something really quick. I think I do. Okay. I thought I had my background up. I don't know where my background disappeared to. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. It is late night, of course. And, of course, I am BMR. Thank you to Mickey. Great way to start the show with the Super Cat. Yes, the Super Cat is open. Thanks so much, Mickey G. Also, everybody, since we're on this, you can become BMR Pirates. That's right, mateys. Join the many. Join the few, depending on your point of view. You know what you get? Yeah, you get a picture of good old BMR in the chat room. Next to your name, sporting a bandana. And I do have membership shows for those that are members. Thank you in advance for that. Appreciate, love you all for coming on in. Tonight's show is a little different, y'all. It still kind of bugs me that I can't put up my background that I have. I have this cool background just in the I don't know. Oh, there we go. Hey, there we go. There's a little background to highlight things. But yeah, thanks to everybody. A little different show for everybody tonight because, as you all know, late night into the bazaar is usually with a version of Brandy, Krista, or Monica. Well, Brandy and Krista are on an investigation, and Monica's on vacation. So yeah, a little bit different show, little format. It's not bizarre news tonight. However, I've got a great show in store for y'all. Let me go through a roll call here really quickly. We have Aloria, Diane. Hello, Diane. Mickey G, Jessica S, Bradley, Andres, Werewolf, Genocide, Kiera Jade, hi, Kami City, Camel City native. I'm sorry. Thanks for coming on in. Who else? Scrolling. If you're not chatting, Danny Staten from Carolina. Thanks, Danny. Christy Sci-Fi is in the house. Love Christy. Thanks for coming in tonight. Of course, Mickey, thanks for the awesome Super Cat. What else? Scrolling. Can't read this name. Ed. Edith Gomez. Welcome to the show, Edith. Good old BMR's vision isn't the best. Of course, Jason Finch is in the house. Thank you so much, Jason. I'm going to keep scrolling a little bit. Bear with me, everybody. Freaky Geek, of course. Hello to Freaky. again, Jenny Adkins. Hi, Jenny, and welcome. Welcome to the show. If you're new here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Mystery Lab on YouTube. Also, the Blondie and the Booze on YouTube. Paranormal Paul, Monica Rollins, our Paranormal World. Oh, what else? Who else is in here? Fallen. Hey, Fallen, what's happening? So anyway, yeah. So if I didn't say hi, I still love you. I just can't see you. Sam, hello, Sam. Pretty Sam, Paranormal World. Check out her. Moon and Noon. Hello, Rebecca. So yeah, you're all coming on in. Thanks for coming in tonight. So as I mentioned earlier, the girls are all away, and so tonight will not be bizarre news. So I was thinking, I do these Saturday shows now. Boy, I think this is the second year for late night into the bizarre. Yeah, so I had to change things up because I can't do bizarre news. Hello, Carl Sup. Carl Sup. He's an awesome guest. I had him on a month ago. Check him on out. We had a great show. He's a great guy. Fantastic, fantastic show we did. Andrew, how you doing? So a little different because Free Your Mind has been a member, a pirate. Free Your Mind, a member for 13 months. Thank you, matey. Free Your Mind, a pirate for 13 months. That's just so fantastic. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. So again, I can't do bizarre news without a co-host or at least one of the girls because we break down the bizarre news, right? So, and I usually have encounter stories, but I usually save those for story time with BMR. So I was trying to think what to do for all you lovely folks out there, right, in YouTube land. So I decided, well, you know what I'm going to do? I went and I got a couple emails, and they're Dogman encounters. We're going to do some Dogman all night tonight. Yes, at least there's going to be two of them, but this is going to take up the whole entirety of the show. And I think you're going to like them quite immensely. Hello, Mad Pex. How are you? So that's what I'm going to do tonight. It's story time, late night with BMR. We're doing Dogman. That's what we're doing. Hit that like button, leave a comment. Please do. If you're new, subscribe. Also, thanks to everybody who's bought my books. Bigfoot Michigan Represents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1, Book 2, both found on Amazon. I've got my my Amazon store pinned at the top. If you want to check that out, those who bought it, thank you so much. Leave a review, though, if you did buy the book, because it does help promote book sales. Thanks so much. So, again, a different version of the show, but the show always goes on. I don't cancel unless I'm out of power or I'm very sick. After the first story, I might have to stretch my hip because a lot of you know that I got a hairline fracture. Thanks for all the welcome, the well wishes. It's a lot better today, but it does get tight when I sit down for any extended period of time. But with that said, woe is me, right? No big deal. It's getting better. Thanks to everybody for coming on in. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Love y'all. Thanks for coming in. And I'm going to get on with our first encounter. And I'm going to make mention with some hot coffee, but I'm going to make mention, however, that these two Dogman accounts that I got, that's why I wish that at least Brandy or Krista was here because they're both from the state of Missouri. Mark Twain National Forest is one of them for sure. Hello, you care, Jody. How you doing? So I'm going to get on with this tonight, you guys. Thanks for spending your Saturday night with me. And let's get rolling. Thanks to everybody. Love you. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Thank you. And this first account that I'm going to go over and talk about or tell you guys is I title this, It Wasn't Bigfoot. It was the Ozark Mountain team account. You know, there's a line most researchers don't talk about, everybody. Not the line between belief and skepticism, but the line between what you're looking for, right? Does that make sense to you guys? And what actually finds you. Gemini Moon. My matey from Michigan. Hello, Aarons. How are you? Great to see you, Aaron's. Love you. And this email that I got, and I'm retelling this story in his words. Everything's the same. He's a guy. He's a guy named Eric. So I was reading through this email a couple days ago, and he and two friends. They were not thrill seekers. They weren't ghost hunters. They were Bigfoot researchers. They were small time, and they were local. It was just three guys who thought they understood the woods. They were wrong. I am Virex. How are you? And the team is comprised of, first of all, I got to reflect back here. This takes place in the early 2000s in the Ozarks of Missouri. And primarily, this is around the Mark Twain National Forest. With earlier trips with these three individuals near the Ozark National Scenic Riverways. The team was comprised of Eric, and he's the one that sent me the email, another fellow named Josh, and another guy named Mike. They're regular guys. One guy was in construction work, another guy was in warehouse work. They were married, they were kids, they had kids, they led the normal lives. Eric says to me in this email, he says, we weren't out there to prove anything to the world. He says, we just wanted to see one for ourselves. They had small things before everybody. They heard distant howls. They heard tree knocks, footprints. But these things that they saw, everybody, did not quite make any sense. But it was enough to keep them going with their investigations. So, back in the late fall, in the early 2000s, they planned a deeper trip, 3 nights. And they planned on going further into the woods of the Mark Twain than they'd ever gone before. On their first night, they set camp near a ridge about 2 miles off any marked trail. Josh was the first to say something felt off. Again, one of the members of the party. It's too quiet, not even bugs. Yes, Aaron's, I see you. I think this is in Missouri. Missouri, Aaron's. They've heard this before, though. All of a sudden there was a dead silence in the woods. Now, we've all heard about the dead silence, right, everybody? When a predator is around, a bear, a wolf, what have you, and in many instances, when it's a cryptid, a Bigfoot, a dogman, the forest becomes eerily silent. But this lingered on for these guys, and the silence didn't break. Around midnight, they got their first sound. It was not a howl. It was not a knock. It was something that was moving fast, and it was circling. Not crashing through the woods like a deer, but it was very controlled, heavy, but very precise. Mike whispered, again, another member of the party, of the three guys, that ain't a Bigfoot. They don't move like that. And again, these guys are Bigfoot researchers, small time guys, but they've been out in the woods for many years looking for Bigfoot. And then it stopped right outside of the tree line. The man that sent in the email says to me, no one slept much that night. Now the morning comes, and with it, the first real sign of what's possibly going on here. Tracks, but not what they expected. Welcome, Jamie Johnson. Hello, friend. Thank you. Eric says, at first I thought big dog, but then I saw the spacing. The stride was wrong. Too long for a normal animal. And then he goes on to tell me they found a second set. The same prints. But these prints, the odd thing about these prints, everybody, is that they were spaced like something walking upright. 2 legs, bipedal. One of the guys, Josh, as I'm recalling from this story, says it's like it couldn't decide what it was, which I find odd, but again, it's not my story. In the email, they said, Rob, we should have left. We should have left. And all 3 of the guys, all 3 of these friends, all 3 of these researchers, they all admittedly said that we should leave. But they didn't. And you know why they didn't leave? Number one, they're researchers. And number 2, their curiosity. Their curiosity is ablaze. Right? And in the email, the guy says, Rob, for whatever reason, the curiosity keeps people in places they shouldn't be in. And, you know, for those of us out there that do any investigations or in the woods, and it does not even have to be cryptid, right? Doesn't our curiosity always keep us in places where we think we should leave? But for whatever that innate instinct is, we just got to see something. I get it all the time. On the second night, they set up some audio equipment. They're now more alert now. They're more uneasy. And around 11 p.m., thank you, Moon at Noon, for the awesome super cats. Thanks so much, Moon. They hear it again right around 11 o'clock, but closer. And they hear breathing. Not loud, but it's there. Eric said, you ever feel something staring at you so hard you can almost hear it thinking? Then came the first vocalization. Not a howl, not a growl. Something in between. A deep, like a deep vibrating, almost layered sound. And I will say this, I'm very familiar with the deep, vibrating, layered sounds. Those of you that follow me know what I'm talking about. It's almost like 2 tones at once. In my case, it was 3 tones at once. With what I experienced. Mike drops his flashlight from what I recall, and then Josh, this guy Josh, again, a part of the group, of course. All these guys are all together. That's not anything I've ever heard in these woods. And again, experienced novices, but they've been in these woods for many years, searching for, of course, Bigfoot. And then a shift takes place. Eric says he saw this first shift, or he was the first one to recognize something odd or different. This entire story is odd, of course. Just beyond the edge of the firelight, there was two eyes. Okay, not glowing like in the movies, but they were reflecting. They were reflecting higher than they should be. I'm guessing not at ground level, right? Then it moved forward just for a second. Then the fire caught it. A fire from their campsite, I imagine. And it was described to me like this what they see had long arms, longer than a man's arms would be, but shoulders too narrow for a Bigfoot. The head was oddly shaped. It had a muzzle, but the muzzle was was not flat. It was elongated. Moon and noon. Again, everybody, thanks for coming in. If I'm not saying hi, I'm simply not ignoring you. But when I do solo shows and tell stories, I don't really pay attention in the chat room too often. Love you all. Thank you so much. Hit that like button, please. Thank you. And then he talks about the legs, right? They were bent back like a dog. But not standing upright in this case. Eric says that that's when his brain just rejected it. Like, no, that's not real. So these guys are sitting in this camp. They're looking at this thing, this odd creature. And they didn't really say it looked like a werewolf or a dog man, but, the odd shaped head, a flat nozzle, what do you call it? A flat muzzle, I guess, or nose, hocked legs, but not standing at this point, despite seeing two tracks that were the opposite. So this is something really different going on here. So they're like, Rob, we sit back. We're not going to chase after this thing. We didn't call out. We stayed quiet. Rob, we all just froze, trying to figure out what in the world we're looking at. Something they did never expected to see out in the wilderness or the woods of the Mark Twain National Forest. And then in the email, Eric, the guy that sent this in to me, says, and then it did something that changed everything for these guys. This thing now steps into the edge of their camp. Not fully, but just enough. Rob, he says to me, it was sniffing very slowly, very deliberately, like it was learning them or studying them, he tells me. Then it dropped. Rob, I forget to mention when it did this, it was standing on two legs, but then now it drops to all fours. And the way this Eric describes it in the email to me, he says it got faster, it got smoother. Like that's what it really was his question. He says this creature circles once around them in their campsite, everybody, and then it circles twice. Then it vanishes into the dark. So later on that night, none of them slept well at all. They all had experienced something. Eric said, I wasn't asleep, but I wasn't awake either. he describes to me some sort of presence that he can't shake, but not a visual presence as he's sleeping in his dreams. But then there, he had a thought that did not feel like his own thoughts whatsoever. I'm going to pause really briefly and reflect on something that people have told me many, many times when it in references to Dogman. That yes, they've been a creature on two legs. They've dropped all four. They circle, they sniff, they smell. They give off this presence, that intimidation factor. But another thing about this, what I like is these guys trying to sleep at night, think they're asleep. They're not asleep. They don't know what's going on. But a lot of people that I've spoken to, everybody, dreams at night settle in where you do not know if it's real or not real. Almost like there's a presence of this creature that invades your space in your mind. And I've heard that quite often. And one of the mental images, I guess, was telepathically communicated in these guys' minds, and all these guys, was this. It says, "You don't belong here." So in the morning, before anybody said anything, one of the members of the group, Josh, he spoke up. Did Listen to this, you guys, as I just went over, right? Did either of you hear something in your head? They wake up in the morning, and Josh is the first one. Again, I'll repeat this. He asks his guys, his friends, the three of them, did either of you hear something in your head? One of the members of the group, Mike, he just nods. He just nods like, yeah. In the email, what I recall is Rob, he's telling me from that night, everything changed. Everything changes for these guys. Okay. Todd, jump in. I am Verax. Again, I don't really pay attention to chat when I'm doing these. Hello, welcome to the show. If you're new, please subscribe. Hit that like button. Super Cat is open and consider becoming a pirate, mateys. Love you all. Thanks for coming in. So, again, everything changes for these guys, right? And I frankly don't blame them. A bipedal creature drops to four legs, invades their mind with these thoughts, these images, and this alleged telepathy, right? Creepy. Now these guys are getting a little a little paranoia is settling in. They start second guessing everything. Oh, thank you so much, Cajun May. Supercat, can't get enough of BMR. Keep shining and bright and continue to do amazing things. I love that. And I appreciate that ever so much. Thank you. So again, they're second guessing everything. These guys, they're frazzled, you guys. Every sound, every shadow, even each other, you guys. And this guy Eric goes on and says, I started thinking, what if it's been watching us for longer than we even know? What if it's been watching us for all the last several years that we've been in the woods? And I will say this to that point that this guy said to me in his email. Yeah, I think that when you're in a familiar location, and these guys are in the Mark Twain National Forest, and if you are actively looking for things that are bizarre, cryptids, whatever the case may be, these cryptids, man, they get a sense. They know you're in the woods before you do. and they're watching you, right? They are watching you. And then they find more signs, these guys. I mean, I give credit to these guys. They're kind of scared. I mean, but this is what they do. They've been waiting for this their whole lives. So they continue on. And again, they said to me they found these other signs, right? They found food that was disturbed, but not taken from their campsite. And this is all at the campsite. They would find that a lot of their gear would be moved around, and none of them really moved it around. And then they noticed something else, that these footprints that originally were in the distance from their campsite or from their tents started getting closer to their tents each and every time they went out into the forest. Closer than ever before. This one guy, Josh, he says, "Hey, Rob, it's not just around us anymore. It's here. It is here where we're camping every time." And this was over 2 nights. It's there. The presence is there. So they go on to tell me about the third night. And they said, Rob, this is no Bigfoot trip anymore. We're not even going to pretend, as I recall them saying. We know better than what we know better, but we don't know what's going on here. So on that third night, around 1 o'clock in the morning, the creature comes back. But this time it was not circling the camp like on the previous 2 nights. We got this strange inclination. One of the guys in the email was saying is that it was testing them. And I will say this again. We were talking about Dogman. Dogman tests people. Dogman, of all the cryptids, like a Bigfoot does not want us to see them. They will show themselves or reveal them to ourselves if they want to. But they really want to be left alone. And they're they're the hide and seek champion, right? There's a good reason for that. I find with a lot of these Dogman encounters, Dogman don't give a damn if you see him. In fact, I think Dogman, from all the people I've spoken with and had on the show interviewing, they want to show itself. They want to fear. They want that fear factor. They want you to know, I can get you. I can eat you anytime I want to. I've been doing this for 4 years. I've spoke to hundreds of people. And it always has that same common denominator, everybody. That's with me, though. Could be differently with other people. I don't know. During this third night, there was quick movements. And the thing about this, it was just stopping just outside of sight, taunting them. They know it's there, but it was playing games now. You saw me a couple nights ago, but now I'm just kind of being very elusive, playing mind games with you. Then it would rush a little closer, but then all of a sudden it would be gone. At one point that I recall, they were talking to me about something that ran directly into the camp. And this thing was on 2 legs now. And again, this creature fluctuated from 2 legs to 4 legs. This time on 2 legs, it runs and races into their camp and it stops. Then it drops again to all fours and runs off. I find that to be interesting because when I've heard about these Dogman accounts, typically it's usually just on 2 legs. And a lot of times on 4, and they would stand up and run, but this thing was deliberately going in between the bipedal and the four-legged thing, right? The four-legged walking, if you will. And then he says, Rob, I got this feeling this thing was showing us what it could do. And he says, Rob, this creature, again, undescribable. Right before dawn this night, going into the morning, they hear this thing again outside the campsite. But this time they says, Rob, it's a little bit different. And now it's even getting even closer. It's really testing these guys. A low growl this time. Rob, Eric is who sent me the email said, Rob, it's right outside of my tent now. Rob, it's not 10 feet away. And then a single exhale. The exhale was hot. You could feel the breath as it got closer to the tent. Eric says, Rob, I'm frozen inside of my tent. I am holding my breath and I'm not breathing. I'm not moving. I'm a statue. He says, Rob, the craziest thing about this whole thing is reverting back to the prior third day. Again, inside of his head, inside of Eric's head, he says, Rob, I don't know if it's telepathic or what, but inside my head, I heard a voice that said, leave. And that was it. Just leave. Now, at this point, these three guys, they leave. They get the hell out of Dodge, right? They didn't even discuss it. They all kind of knew they had to get the hell out of there. And they left. They packed right at the first light. They were quick, they were quiet, they were deliberate. As they're leaving, one of the members of the party, Mike, he turns back. And then he said he saw it standing on the ridge, watching. Rob, it wasn't chasing, it was standing and watching us as we left. Not approaching them, nothing. Rob was like, it was making sure that we were just going and out of there. In the email, Eric is telling me that they never went back to that spot again. But Eric went on to tell me, Rob, something about this is bigger. So Eric starts digging, right? He wants to investigate. He just wants to know what in the hell happened over these 3.5 days until daybreak on the fourth day. So he starts looking around, talking to other researchers, going online, whatever he's doing, right? And he found similar reports. Not just in that forest, though, but across all of Missouri. All of Missouri. And for those of you in Missouri, Aaron's was in here. Of course, the blondes and the boos are not here. But there's places in Missouri, and he wrote down, he says, Hercules Glades Wilderness, areas near Branson. Oh my God, I know where Branson is. The blondes and the boos and I, we were going to do our conference in Branson, Missouri, outside of the Ozarks. Then we had it at the ranch and over at the Haunted Museum back in September. But Branson was on our list. How about that one? A lot of these descriptions all matched, you guys. It was not Bigfoot in any of these reports. It was something else. Eric says to me in this email that after he found these reports about these things in various places in Missouri, he says, Rob, unfortunately, we really don't do any active research anymore, at least not like before, because they get these dreams still where they're when they're in the comforts of their home at night, they still get these weird dreams. Rob, Eric goes on to tell me, we went out looking for one thing, Bigfoot, but we found something that made us wish we hadn't gone into the forest looking for anything at all. The one member of the party, Josh, does not speak about it. The other buddy, Mike, you guys, Mike moved out of Missouri in the email. These three buddies went out looking for Bigfoot. They came across something that they still really can't explain. And obviously it's Dogman. And the guy Mike didn't even explain why. He didn't even tell his buddies that he left. They went to find Mike. Mike had vanished and his house was up for sale. He was gone, you guys. This encounter affected three guys. They quit going in the woods. One guy moved and they suffered from paranoia and delusions. Eric did tell me this though in the email that I remember. He says that, and this kind of stuck with me. He says it didn't want to hurt us. Now, when I read that, when he says it didn't want to hurt us, I was surprised that it didn't, because a lot of times our encounters with Dogman. Well, I will say this. Let me backtrack. Outside of like the LBL and maybe a few other places, I never really hear about anybody getting unalive too often. It's just scaring the absolute shit out of you. So I get it. It didn't want to hurt us. It knew it could if it wanted to. He says, oddly enough, Rob, I think this thing just wanted us to understand that we're not part of that element and we shouldn't be there. Hence the telecommunications. Hi, Ivy. They got this feeling they were not supposed to be there. And the one guy, Mike, got that message loud and clear. He left the state of Missouri, for God's sakes. That's how scared this guy was. It's not always about being attacked, you guys. It's about the mental anguish and fear that you get. I had that for a long time myself when I saw my creature, the Bigfoot, right? If something is out there that can walk like a man, run like an animal, and reach into your thoughts, is it just another creature? Or is it something that's been watching us a lot longer than we realize, right? And what happens when you stop looking for it? But I'll tell you what, I believe this with all my heart. It doesn't stop looking for you. Not from what I've heard from so many people. Once you see it, it knows you. It's got your scent. And if you're a researcher, or if you're a person in the field, yeah. I don't want to use the word marked, everybody, but I've been told this so many times. And once you see one, you're not going to unsee it, and they're never going to unsee you. I believe that. I hope you like that first encounter story. I've got a second encounter story. It's gonna be a dog man as well. Pretty cool one. I like that one. Hope you guys liked it too. I got to stretch the hip and get a quick drink of water. This is empty. Give me about 45 seconds. Don't go anywhere. In the meantime, just hit that like button, chat amongst yourselves, give good old BMR about 45 seconds, and I will be right back. Thanks a lot. And I'll be on with my second cool dog band story. Be right back. I am back. It sucks getting old. For those of you that don't know, yeah, about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I slipped on ice and I got a hairline fracture in my hip. So when I sit too long, I gotta get up a little bit and stretch it out. Now I'm good. It's getting better each and every week that passes by. I'm good though. I hope you guys like that. I thought that was really cool. It makes you think. It makes you wonder. And I think these creatures, once you come across them, you guys, they follow. They know you. I hate to say that. I believe that. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Too many people have told me otherwise, though, for me not to believe. Right. So if you're just joining the show, yeah, you're gonna want to watch the replay. That was a pretty engrossing encounter with these guys. Flex Seal at BMR, new Flex and Seal commercial. Andrew, I love Andrew. Love all you guys. Thanks for coming on in. Hello to everybody in the chat. Thanks for coming in tonight with me. The girls are all doing their thing. Blondes and the Booze are on an investigation. Monica's on vacation. Really briefly, I want to thank Mickey G for your awesome super cats. Thank you, Mickey. Free Your Mind has been a pirate for 13 months. Thank you, Free. Thank you, Moon and Noon, for the super cat. Thank you for Cajun May for that awesome super chat. Donations not expected, you guys, but a good old BMR always appreciates them immensely. It just helps, do what I do around here and everybody else that I associate with in our little network that we have. So thank you for that so much. Um, so yeah, and I do want to make mention to not only the people in the chat room do I appreciate immensely, but also the people that watch the replays, the people that don't participate in chat that are watching now. There's about 345 people watching live right now, and about 90 in the chat room. So thank you for that, and everybody. Without the audience, without the chat, without the followers that I have, I would not be on the air. So I love you guys, and thanks for your love and support. And I'm going to get on with second Dogman encounter story that I got. And I titled this, Thank You to Sean Subacat from Sean. Arr, matey. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate you. This second one I titled, It Was Running With Us, the Missouri Highway Account. So again, as I said earlier, another one from Missouri. I like keeping them specific to one location whenever I do a show like this and tell these accounts. And again, from an email I got. By the way, if anybody listening has an encounter story that you would like to share with me, perhaps come on my show as a guest, or if you'd like me to retell it in your words, of course, beyondbmr@gmail.com. Just send your account over and I'll check it out. Hey, Judy. So I'm going to get on with this again. And the email I got starts out kind of like this. The guy says to me, There's something about driving at night when your headlights don't just show you what's ahead, they show you what's been waiting. So when I read that, man, I was hooked. I love these people that fashion their emails where, wow, they hook me, you know. And again, I just like that. It's very creative. They know what they're doing. And this email actually came from a guy named Travis. Travis, that's his name. Whether it's his name or not. Hey, Keith. Keith from Michigan. Say hi to your lovely wife Lauren for me, would you? Hope all is well. So this guy Travis and his coworker Ben weren't out looking for anything. They're truck driving guys, kind of like our good buddy Andrew. They weren't into the woods. They're not into research. They had no interest in Bigfoot, no interest in Dogman. They had no interest in any of this stuff. On this one particular night, everybody, they were just trying to get home. This takes place in 2011, Southern Missouri. Travis and Ron had worked together, maintenance and repair work. So they did a lot of driving, a lot of long hours. Not necessarily truck drivers, like I suggested. I forgot, but yeah, they were just maintenance guys. On this particular night, they were coming back from a job near the edge of the Ozarks. And again, in the Ozarks. And I've talked to Brandy a lot about the Ozarks and Krista. And yes, the Ozarks are very mysterious. A lot of cryptid activity. I drove through the outskirts and yeah, very pretty, but like any woods, there's always ominous parts of the woods. And again, with these parts of the Ozarks, everybody, not far, a lot of stretches that connected into, once again, the Mark Twain National Forest. And again, the Mark Twain National Forest, you guys, yeah, that's the place to go if you're into this high strangeness, if you will. It was late. It was past midnight, and what I recall Travis telling me was we took the back way to save time. He says, Rob, and I don't mean to laugh. He says, Rob, it ended up being the worst decision they ever made. And again, I'm not laughing. It was a 2-lane highway. There was no streetlights, just trees on both sides. So you got the tree line on both sides of this 2-lane highway, right? So they're about 20 minutes in. And when Ben noticed it first, he says to his buddy Travis, he says, You see that? And Travis says, Yeah, I think that's a deer. He was eyes shine. It was low in the trees. The odd thing is it did not move like a deer. It kept pace. You guys, it kept the same speed as the truck. I don't recall how fast the truck was going, but immaterial, something pacing you in a vehicle is moving. And I've heard stories that people would tell me about a dog man running right up alongside their vehicle doing 30, 40, sometimes 50 miles an hour. So, Rob, these guys, they've kind of nervously laughed it off. Then the one guy, Ben, says it was to his buddy Travis, yeah, it's probably a dog. But then whatever was pacing them, this says, Rob, was unusual because now this thing sped up even faster. And then it says, now, Rob, I can tell you how fast we were going. It sped up because we kind of applied gas to the pedal of the vehicle. Rob, we're doing 50 to 55 miles an hour. And whatever this was pacing us. It was still in the tree line, and it was not falling far behind at all. So the guy Travis says, that's when I realized whatever this is, it's not running normal. Without warning, it cut in front of them. Not sprinting, not panicked. It just stepped out in front of them. AGC, it was tall, too tall. It was upright. Travis slams on the brakes of the vehicle. He says that his truck skids, and as it's skidding and in the headlights is when both of these guys saw it. Hey, Pancho. Travis said this very carefully. He says, Rob, I don't want to exaggerate this as I'm reading through this email, and he quotes this perfectly with my intent. Rob, it looked like a wolf, but it was like stretched. If I'm using the wrong words as he says to me, but it's stretched into a man. Long snout. He said, Rob, it had pointed ears. And again, they're seeing this in the headlights. They got a full glaze, the light is fully shining on this thing. Long snout, ears pointed, very alert. It had narrow shoulders, but very tall, but very long. It was very tall, and the arms were hanging very low, almost like as long as like the torso, almost to the ground, past the waist for sure. He says, Rob, the legs are odd, like they could bend and drop in any second to a four-legged creature. Then he mentions something about the eyes. He says, Rob, when the headlights flash, you see the eyes locked in both of these guys. Like the set of eyes on this creature could lock in on both of them at the same time simultaneously. Rob, the creature wasn't startled at all. It was just honing in on me and my partner in our vehicle. From what I remember reading out of this email, the part that bothers this guy the most, he says to me, he says, it wasn't reacting to us, is what his mind is telling him. He says it was watching us, like it already knew they were there. And again, again, a lot of these things that we have talked about on other shows, other guests, right, that have been on, even in the last one, it briefly hinted on this. It's like hey, listen, I'll tell you this. You could talk to anybody that researches in the field for any amount of time, and I believe this fully. I don't care if it's Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever you're searching for. Even let's even say a wolf, a bear, a deer. They know when you're in the forest before you get out of your vehicle. I won't state a fact on that, but I believe that. So again, he says it was reacting to us and it was watching us like it knew that we were already there, right? He says then Robin did something kind of small, but kind of wrong at the same time, as I remember. He says this thing kind of tilted its head at them, tilted it from one side to the other. He says Rob was almost like it was trying to read our minds, trying to understand them. After a few seconds, the creature stepped off of the road. It was not running. It just walked back into the trees, they told me. Walked. Didn't run, walked back into the trees, back into the tree line. Then they said, boom, kind of like just kind of disappeared out of sight. I know Andrew has had similar experiences on the freeways as Andrew drives all around the United States. So these guys have stopped their vehicle. They skid, as I told you earlier, they stopped, they put on the brakes, it skidded, headlights, seeing this thing. They're not driving. The thing stared at them, looked at them, tilted the head, walks away. Was it when it walks away, they still don't take off. They kind of sit there for a moment and they sat there, these two guys, in silence. And then the buddy Ben, he says, did we just see that? Did we tell me that we're dreaming? We did not see that, did we? And I can imagine that, right? Come on, you guys all know what I'm talking about. Did you see it? Travis nods his head. Like, yeah, did we? I don't know. So they start driving back up, okay? And then, according to what I'm told, that's when it starts. 5 minutes later, same thing. Eyes in the trees. Rob now is closer this time. Hey, Dwarf, hey, Monk, Riako, Cryptid, can't really read, 559, hi. Hello to everybody that I missed. It's closer this time and it's running. Again, pacing the vehicle. Travis speeds up the vehicle. Rob, this thing paced us earlier. We were doing 50 or 55 and could not believe this thing was pacing us. We couldn't get rid of it. Now we're speeding up to 60 or 65 miles an hour. Rob, this damn thing, this creature, this wolf looking creature is keeping up with us. And again, like I told you guys earlier, I've heard many accounts from witnesses, people that have been on my show, other podcasts that I watch or listen to. This really sounds absurd, but it's really a commonality. I'm big with documenting things and data, and I've got to tell you, for me, this is not uncommon. I've heard it so many times. It kept up at 65 miles an hour. According to these guys, right? I get it. And it was running through the trees on level ground. It was fluid, like it was gliding. There was no slowing down, not even for a minute. So the guy Ben, he says this first to his buddy Travis. He says, "It's following us, man. It's chasing us," which kind of was obvious, right? Duh. It was intentional. It was not some random thing. So as they're driving, trying to lose this creature, this dog man, werewolf, whatever you want to call it. Up ahead, there's a curve. It says Rob was kind of a blind curve that they just, happened on them so fast, right? And he says, then they thought they lost the creature at this bend. They lost sight of it for a moment. But once they get out of this blind bend, that he says, Rob, we almost lost control of the vehicle. As they round it and straighten out and get back on their path, there this thing is again. But now it's not in the tree line, it's in the road. And it's a lot closer to the vehicle than before. And this time it didn't move right away like the last time. Well, the last time it really didn't move. Remember when I told you earlier, it looked at him, tilted its head, then walked off into the tree line. And I guess this time it just stood there. It didn't move. The guy Ben says to me in the email, it was kind of like it was a standoff. I slowed down the truck, Rob. We stopped. The truck is idling. Headlights are locked on this creature. The buddy Travis says that we're not looking at an animal. We're just not looking at any animal. It took one step forward, then it dropped. It drops onto all fours. From the bipedal on two legs, now it drops on all four of its legs, I guess. Arms, legs, whatever you want to say. And when it did, everything changed, the guy says in email to me. He says, it just became even faster. It seemed stronger, more terrifying than even being on two legs. He said, but it seemed more natural, not as odd when it was bipedal. It seemed more natural on the four legs. He says, Rob, it was almost like when it was standing up like it was part of an act or something. Rob, whatever we were looking at was the real deal, the real thing, whatever the hell it is, as he's telling me, right? This thing now moves towards the truck. Again, it's standing there, kind of like in a standoff position. It moves towards the truck. It moves very fast. Then it stops. This creature stops just short of the vehicle. And then this Travis guy says, Rob, I got to tell you something. I've never felt fear like this in my life ever. Never felt fear ever like this. He says, it's not because I thought it would attack, because I, in my heart of hearts, my soul of souls, I knew it could. And I knew my buddy and I were done for in any instance. Travis says, man, Rob, I'm screw this standoff sitting here. We got to make a move, otherwise we're goners. So he says he hits the gas. He drives right at this creature and he swerves not to hit it right out of its way. And he just floored it even faster and started speeding down the road. He does not even look back. He thinks that, man, thank you. Now he's looking at his, then he finally looks back after a mile or so, looks back, sees nothing. About a mile and a half in, his buddy Ben looks out the side view mirror, right? He goes to his buddy Travis, "Oh my god, it's behind us." And it's on the road chasing them, right back of them. Not on four legs. Now it's running upright once again, bipedally on two legs, and it's running. It's running on two legs, and it is gaining on these guys. Rob, I kid you not, in the very beginning of the story of the encounter, he was doing 50 and 55, and it paced us. The second time, same night, same situation. This is all the same night, you guys, when this is happening for those joining late. They went to 60 or 65. He goes, Rob, I floored it, and now I'm doing 70 to 75 miles an hour on a two-lane highway. The woods on either side of me. Any wrong move, and I'm off in a ravine, and I'm dead. But he says, man, if I don't get out of the way of this creature or away from this creature, we're going to be dead anyways. So he says, Rob, once I hit 75 miles an hour, this thing finally just can't keep up and it starts falling back. And then right before it disappeared, they think it disappeared intentionally because it slowed down the creature with intention. And it just stood there in the road. And it watched them as they sped off and as the creature slowly dissipated from the rearview mirror. These two guys, Travis and Ben, after this experience, they did not talk to each other, according to the email, for a long time. Trauma, fear. What the hell did they see? What did they experience? They did not tell anybody for weeks. Eventually, the buddy Travis starts looking into this. They found reports with similar descriptions. And the guys, the reports are there. I mean, these guys, they're doing their due diligence here. You know, I would do the same thing. I did it with all the things that I've experienced. And that's what we do, right? Especially when you're seeking answers. So they found the similar descriptions all in the same area and other parts of Missouri. So I remember the email. I'll read what he says. I forgot what he says. He says, it wasn't trying to kill us. It was seeing what we could do because it would definitely could have killed us. Okay. He doesn't know what it was doing, really. So I don't know. So think about this. If something is out there that can keep pace with your vehicle, and when it can choose when it can be seen and not be seen, and decides when to let you go. Because let's think about this, you guys. This thing let them go. It paced them between, 50 and 55, 60 and 65, 70 and 75. Then in the final end of this experience, this encounter, it just kind of stopped and slowed down and stopped. And it just looked at them standing in the road and it let them go. I don't really know why it did. It seemed to me like it wanted these guys. And again, as I've repeated over and over on all different shows when we talk Dogman, they want to scare the you know what out of us. I think that's their number one goal is to frighten us, to scare us, terrify us. And this thing did that. I I have no question that these things exist. Too many stories that I've heard, and not just told to me, other programs about a dog man running up along the side of a vehicle. It's just very common. There's tons of data out there to support this. Thousands of people don't make up the same stories. That's why data is important. Bigfoot crossing the road, probably 68% of the people in the world, that's how they seen a dog man or a Bigfoot crossing a road. A lot of the reports about the dog man pacing vehicles. I've heard many of these like this. People aren't copycats. Why send us something, right? It happens. So when you guys are all out in the woods, if you live in the forest, keep this all in mind. Keep those eyes open, right? Andrew, trucker Andrew. Keep your eyes on the wood line. You never know what you're to come through. And I know the Mark Twain, man, it's crazy. Hell, all the forests are crazy. Who am I kidding? Cryptids exist, Dogman exists, Bigfoot exists. We all know that. That's why we watch these shows, and I love all you guys for watching my show. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for coming on in tonight. Little different show tonight. All the girls are off investigating and on vacation. So yeah, bizarre news. So I decided to do a story time show for you guys. I had these two lined up for another day, but I said, you know what? I am going to present it tonight for you guys. Something different. I hope you like these two encounters. If you're just coming on in, watch the replay. I think you're going to love the show. I loved it. I think most of you loved it. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. And really briefly, I'm going to go over this once again. Thank you to Mickey G for the awesome super cat. Free Your Mind has been a pirate for 13 months. Moon at Noon, super cat, thank you. Cajun May, thank you. Sean Hertel, thank you so much. Thanks to everybody. Donations never expected, always appreciated. What I love is the people that come in, show the love, show the support. That like button is worth $1 million. Helps to get the algorithm out. Share these out for me. I enjoyed tonight. I really did. Thank you so much. I'll be back with the girls next Saturday night. Of course, I'm on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock with Krista. Thursday afternoon, 1 o'clock with Monica. And back here late night with Into the Bazaar with one of the gals from the Blondes and the Booze. I appreciate all you guys. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe if new. Hope you enjoyed tonight. Thank you for spending your time with me tonight. I love y'all. With that said, I'm going to leave you with this little ditty that y'all know that Fidesz put together for me some time ago. Have a great rest of your weekend. I am BMR, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching Bigfoot, Michigan, Rob, and beyond.
p.m. Eastern, the squad is complete. Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern.